what is going to be your impact? Why I will vote for you in November?
Well, I think you ought to vote for me because of this. There are many ideas that I have, in terms of how do we grow Augusta. And Augusta needs to be grown. Not just downtown, but we need to have outlets all across Augusta. We need to build more business districts. Build business districts in the south. We need all over the south. There's open land down there. We need to also advocate, and let's say, for example, let's start just on the east side of town. I would say the east side of town, and start at the airport. We have a beautiful airport now up and coming, but I think that airport needs to be expanded. Not just where you have a few flights coming in every day, but I think that we need to expand it to get it to be, rather than a regional airport, let's expand this and do whatever needs to be done in order to get it to be an international airport. There's no reason why flights should not be originating in Augusta and going someplace overseas. I've always had a saying that if I cannot change my friends, then I will change friends, because sometimes in the mix of what the socialization that you have, the ideas can go south on you and they can dry up. So why not get other folk that have ideas that it may not be just from Augusta. We may need to look outside in order to find people that may have ideas to help us to grow from where we are. And I think we need to do that wherever we need to go in order to find the ideas.
We already spend every year thousands of dollars, taxpayer dollars, you taxpayer dollar in studies that then end up in the trash, or maybe lag in a dark room in the municipal building.
That's a big fixture in government, where people, every time an idea come up, let's study it. There's some ideas that don't need to be studied. You almost know what we need to do is move from the studying part to say, how can we implement this? And it's an implementation stage rather than a study stage. And it seems as if every study that we have always lack that other part. Where do we go from here? If I were into the studying business, I could probably get rich in Richmond County from studies, and because there is no results from it. I want to see something that has some, reality to it. We know what we can do, some things that we can do. One of the things that we can do in Augusta, in terms of, you're talking about bringing corporations and so forth. Nobody wants to come to town if that town is not prepared for, in terms of from a holistic standpoint, that they are prepared for them coming. For example, your crime rate. What are you doing about the crime rate? Has it been low? What are you doing with neighborhoods? Are those neighborhoods fixed up? Are they in terms of, are they clean? What are you doing with your infrastructure? What are you doing with the population of people that you have actually in that town? If a company were to come here and say, we want to bring 50,000 jobs to Augusta, do we have the workforce that is available, ready and available to work there? No, that's the question. I noticed that the high school have dropped off industrial arts and shop out of the schools. Most of them don't have it. You look at the technical school. The technical schools don't have common trades and skills like brick masonry, not teaching brick masonry, carpentry, plumbing. Those kind of things are not here. But I'm saying, if you want to do it, you have to either go through the building a trade, where you have to go through and be an apprentice, and that could take forever. And sometimes that has some downsides to it too, when you have to go through them, or even if you have to go through a contractor. A contractor may not necessarily want to train somebody that might be his competitor 2 or 3 years down the road. So you need something like neutral, like a school. That school can in fact turn out the kind of skills that you want, so that they can actually work in the neighborhood. We are a consolidated government, but when you look at things like water and gas and sewer, they stop at a certain point when you go down into the county. They're not all over Augusta, And I'm saying, I think that if you want to encourage people to come to town and build a facility, then you need to have that infrastructure prepared for them so that they can do that. One of the things that I've worked for industry for a number of years in manufacturing, and I can tell you this: when industry want to come to town, if all other things are okay, and it is just your workforce that they need to deal with, then they need to have space available, because when industry come, most of the time they need people or need space, because everybody needs space to train their workforce, because that workforce, no matter how skilled they are in your area, need to be acclimated to whatever that industry specifically is going to do. I think it's very important that the city makes sure that their workforce is kept up to date with the kinds of skills that will be needed, in fact, if new industry comes. And we can do some things in terms of helping to fund some programs to make sure that we have adequate population of people when they come. And so that, I'm going to tell you, there's a direct correlation between the socioeconomic level in your community and education, and when you start talking about crime. The less the education in your community and the lower the socioeconomic level, you tend to have more crime. And I'm saying we need to be encouraging people to stay in school. Get them off the street. And I guarantee you, if we take them off the street and give them a skill or trade, we will have less problem than we're having right now. Any city that you will go around and look at that has been very progressive does not have a form of government like we have, you know. The mayor has some really solid authority now, because if you're going to have experts to come in to talk about it, those experts should be in that committee meeting. The only thing that the experts should be doing when we have the commission meeting, the full commission meeting, is in it for the public to say, this is where we were in terms of how the issues that we were addressing, and we had these things up. We discussed it this way, and now it's ready for a vote. You take back the Farmers Home Administration. When we consolidated in Richmond County could no longer, it became a city, the second largest city. We were saying that we no longer had farmlands. So rural development from the U.S. Department of Agriculture did not have a foothold. You know, we couldn't get from the Farmers Home Administration and so forth, those low interest loans. We couldn't do that anymore because we were a city. And it was not declared as being rural. But now we've got a lot of rural land in Richmond County. So we could not become a part of that. So we negated all of that by becoming consolidated. We should have consolidated the most populous area. And as areas got more populated, then we could bring them in through annexation. Because that way you could have given them water, sewer, gas, and all of those garbage service, you know, sanitation service, all of those things that you normally give the other population of Richmond County, you could give this. If I had my druthers and I could put the magic wand and say, here's where we want to go and do some things again, I would advocate that we look at where we are right now in terms of this charter. And really what you're saying is abolish and reestablish. Abolish the current charter and reestablish it where we look at just the populated, the heavily, more densely populated areas in Richmond County. And I think that the constituents of Richmond County is ready for that charter to be modified so that it can in fact become a reality, that the mayor has the authority to do what it needs to be done. Right now, if you look at it, the city is really being run by commissioners, and it should be really being run by the mayor in conjunction with the commissioners. You know?
But do you think it's run by all the 10 commissioners or just a few commissioners?
I think when you have it, you got to remember this now: the commissioners are part-time. The mayor is full-time. The administrator is full-time. I believe that the administrator needs to be working for the mayor. And the mayor needs to be assigning tasks to the commissioners in order to make sure that certain things get implemented.